Hi, I am Sapasharan, and today I want to discuss a few important points on the topic of content delivery networks. I have made a case study on this topic, and I am going to present some of the important points on the topics of what is a CDN, CDN versus web host, characteristics and working of a CDN, how CDN improves load times, CDN metrics, private CDN, static and dynamic CDN caching, security services provided by a CDN, CDN Anycast, and benefits of a CDN. First of all, what is a CDN? A CDN is abbreviated as a content delivery network. It is a geographically distributed network of servers to provide fast, reliable access to a particular application. The main goal is to reduce the latency between the request and response time of the user and not to overwhelm the origin server by decreasing the load on the origin server and distributing the load across many other servers. It helps in improving the user experience by decreasing load times and efficient delivery of content. CDN is nowadays used by many tech giants like Google, Amazon, Netflix, etc. First of all, we need to understand the subtle difference between CDN and web host. Some of the people may have some confusion in the topic of CDN versus web host. A web host is a normal server on which we host some content which can be viewed by anyone on the internet. A CDN is also a server, but the difference is rather than hosting some content, it caches the content hosted by some other web server and delivers the content. This does not replace the use of web host. Both are having their important positions for efficient delivery of content. The characteristics of a CDN are: a CDN is placed at various network edges which cache the site's static content and produces efficient delivery of the content to the users who request it. This reduces the latency to the users because there is no need for the request to travel till the origin server for fulfillment. Instead, the CDN will respond to the server to the request rather than the origin server, and there is a fast delivery of content to the user who is requesting it. A CDN also places data centers and servers at several strategic locations and high traffic locations across the globe. This helps reducing the time for loading content in case of high traffic areas, since the load is distributed among different CDNs and data centers. A data center is a location which is having multiple servers. A CDN also performs several optimizations other than placing data centers at various locations. These include hardware and software optimization, which we will discuss in the next slides. Working of CDN. A CDN places several servers and data centers at internet exchange points. Internet exchange point is a location where two or more networks connect with each other for exchanging the traffic between them. Many internet exchange points are present in the world because a single network can't deliver traffic from one location to another location, and many networks are combined at several internet exchange points for producing the vast network called as internet. Internet exchange points are the locations strategically chosen by the CDNs for placing their data centers because this is having more than two networks, and this particular data center can be useful for content delivery across all the networks present in the internet exchange point rather than particular network the CDN is placed in. The CDN distributes the content using several proxy servers rather than the origin servers. This discusses the same point which I told earlier, like there is no need for the request to travel till the origin server for it to be fulfilled. Rather, the CDN will fulfill the request of the user. The main way in which the CDN improves load times is it reduces the distance between the user and the origin server. Origin server is nothing but a server which hosts the content and it has the complete application. Rather than that, the CDN is something which caches the content hosted by the origin server and distributes to the user who is requesting for that content. It reduces the distance between the user and the origin server because a CDN is placed at several network edges, so that the distance between the user and the CDN is quite less when compared to that of origin server, and the request can be fulfilled as soon as possible. There are also several hardware and software optimizations done by the CDN. Hardware optimizations include solid state drives known as SSDs, load balancing, server-side architecture. SSDs are fast when compared to the conventional hardware disks because they do not include any mechanical components. They work similar to the pen drives we use normally. And load balancing helps to balance the load across many servers, so that one particular server in the CDN is not overwhelmed with the traffic and it does not face any failures. CDN also invests in several server-side infrastructure for better delivery of content. There is also a reduction in data transfer because of CDN, because it do some of the software optimizations like compression and minification. Compression is nothing but reducing the size of the content and converting back, reducing the size of content at the sending side and converting that content back to the original form at the receiver side, so that there is a need for less data transfer and whole data is transferred. Minification is somewhat similar to compression, but there is a subtle difference. Minification, the main things involved in minifications are a program is written by the programmer, is having many spaces for readability, and also the variable names can be like a campus, CAMPUS. It's a 6-letter word. Instead we can use something called C instead of campus, so that there is no difference in working, but same working is happening, but for readability or understandability the programmer may use some variable names. But the CDN improves this by changing those variable names etc., so that the size can be reduced and the data to be transferred is reduced to a large extent in case of large applications, so that there is only a less amount of data to be transferred. This reduces the time for loading the content. The metrics used in measuring the effectiveness of and efficiency of a CDN are round trip time, time to live, and cache hit ratio. Round trip time is also known as RTT. The round trip time is the amount of time taken for the user to request a particular data and the time he gets the particular data he requested for. If there is no CDN, the request from the user need to go to the origin server and it need to be fulfilled by it. In some cases the origin server may be present in opposite side of the globe and this takes a long time because of the distance involved. But in case of CDN, the CDNs are placed servers and data centers at various strategic locations and network edges, so that the distance between the user and the origin server is reduced to large extent, because the distance between the CDN and the user is quite less, because there is lot of CDNs placed across the globe. This reduces the round trip time. And the time to live is a time which determines how much amount of time the content can be cached and distributed to the users requesting it. There is a need for time to live because the content on the internet might change from time to time, so you can't keep the cached content forever. The content is changing, so we assign some specific time called as time to live, until which the content is delivered to the users. Once the time to live expires, like it becomes 0, then the CDN again requests for that content from the origin server and redistributes it to the users requesting it until the next TTL expiry. Cache hit ratio is also used to determine the efficiency of CDN, because for example, if 5 users are sending a request to the CDN and it is only able to deliver cached for 3 of the requests, and for the 2 of the requests it accesses the origin servers for responding. That means only for 3 requests it is having the cached content, for other 2 requests it is not having. So the cache hit ratio is 3/5, because for 5 of the requests only 3 are the fulfilled by the CDN and 2 are requested from the origin server. The more the cache hit ratio, the better the efficiency of the CDN. The topic of private CDN is somewhat important because when a organization asks a particular CDN service for using its application, because many other organizations also might contact the same CDN service for their application delivery through CDN servers and data centers. This is okay for cost benefits, but for some mission critical applications this might not help, because in some cases there might be a possible chance that many organizations which are having the same CDN service is having heavy traffic, so the CDN is also having a lot of traffic to be fulfilled. There might be a chance that a particular application might not work as expected even if there is a CDN. So some organizations which are having some mission critical applications, they might choose something called as private CDN, which may have higher costs but the efficiency is also higher. Private CDN hosts servers only for particular organization so that it works efficiently and reliably at all times. There are two types of caching: static and dynamic CDN caching. In static caching, the static contents like images, HTML, CSS and JavaScript files are cached in the CDN server instead of getting it from the origin server for each and every request. Dynamic CDN caching is something which was thought uncacheable for a long time, but with the new technologies like serverless computing and, for example, Cloudflare Workers, which is the serverless computing system provided by the Cloudflare CDN service, helps in generating the HTML and web pages at the network edge instead of origin server. Dynamic content sent from the server which contains script files are also compressed to reduce the overall file size, thereby reducing the transmit rate. This is also another way in which dynamic content can be cached instead of generating it in the network edges, because for applications like a banking application, this cannot be done at the network edges since only the origin server need to be involved in the producing of the web pages. And there is also something called ESI, edge server includes. This is a new system developed by many organizations for better content delivery. Like a web page might have both static and dynamic components. The static components are cached at the CDN, while dynamic components are produced at the origin server, and both are combinedly delivered to the user in case of this ESI mechanism. But still this ESI mechanism is not officially recognized by the W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium, but still many companies are using it for better content delivery. The main security services provided by a CDN are protection from man-in-the-middle attacks, that is MITM attacks, and DDoS attacks, that is distributed denial of service attacks. The man-in-the-middle attacks are mitigated with the help of SSL and TLS certificates. These are some encryption mechanisms. These are needed in the current internet because the current architecture of internet is made in such a way that the data of the request or response produced from one node of the internet travels through many other internet nodes to reach the server and destination, and it might not be possible to guarantee that every node is safe and secure, because some intruder might intercept the data at a particular node and get access to some private and sensitive information. So with encryption, the data generated at one node can be transferred to the other node in some format such that the intercepted data cannot be understood, and only the sender and receiver can understand what data is being transmitted. This method is achieved by using some cryptographic techniques. DDoS attacks can be mitigated with the use of analytics, automation, and Anycache service of a CDN. In a DDoS attack, what happens is a particular person or organization who wants to attack an application takes control of many internet hosts all over the globe, and which are termed as bots, and this network of bots is called as a botnet. These botnet continuously sends many requests to the server, so that the server will become overwhelmed with these requests and might not be able to fulfill the legitimate requests. This causes in the denial of service for legitimate requests. Since this attack is distributed around the globe, this is called as distributed denial of service. This is also mitigated with the CDN Anycast, which we will discuss in the later slides. So, what do you think? Since CDN is able to mitigate the attacks of man-in-the-middle attack and DDoS attack, so what do you think? Is it possible for the origin server to be attacked even if CDN is used? Sadly, the answer is yes. Because, for example, if a particular site is not using a CDN, then the IP address need to be public so that others can access the website. But when a CDN is used, it acts as a shield for that origin server. This acts as a shield as long as the IP address is hidden and only the CDN knows the IP address. Once the IP address is leaked to the outside world, there is a possibility of directly attacking the server origin server instead of passing through the CDN. Since CDN will act as a shield, there is a chance of finding some other way to attack. So many CDNs will tell to change IP address when a particular site is adopting to the CDN service. What is CDN Anycast? In the normal internet, we will always know that a particular node is having only a unique IP address. This is only in case of unicast. Like in unicast, it is not allowed to have for more than one device having the same IP address. But in Anycast, it is possible. More than one device can have the same IP address. This helps in handling requests and distributing requests along many computers or servers so that all of them can be handled easily. And this also helps during attacks, since if any CDN cannot handle the requests, then the request can be passed to the closest CDN server and it goes on until all the requests can be handled by the CDN network and the threat can be mitigated. If any, and this is also useful in cases like, for example, if a server in the CDN fails, then that particular request is routed to another server nearby using the CDN Anycast, and then the request is passed and responded and fulfilled by that server. Many optimization methods are also followed to select the closest server when the server fails or is overwhelmed by attacks in case of DDoS attacks. The benefits of CDN are many. Some of them are low latency. This is obtained and achieved by placing the CDN servers and data centers at strategic locations with high traffic amounts and also network edges, so that the user can get the access to the content as soon as possible. There is also high reliability and redundancy because the same data is cached across many servers of the CDN, and even if one of the servers fails, then the other servers can deliver the service using the Anycast. There is also a high amount of user satisfaction because of the low load times and high content delivery reliability. There is also a high amount of data security because of the protection from man-in-the-middle attacks and DDoS attacks. Coming to the bandwidth expense, a point to be noted is a particular origin server pays for the bandwidth it is used. So if we don't have a CDN, every request produced by the user goes to the origin server and the response by the origin server is also passed to the same bandwidth. This increases the bandwidth usage for the origin server. So the CDN caches the content and delivers the content without contacting the origin server itself. So there is no need for the contact between the user and origin server until there is a TTL expiry, which happens rarely. Like it happens, but only at particular times. Rather than contacting the origin server every time, it is better to contact only for some time, right? This reduces the bandwidth expense of the origin server. There is also outsourced infrastructure because the person hosting or the organization hosting a particular application need not take care of the content delivery infrastructure, because CDN service is provided by a separate organization which takes care of all this. Sometimes there is a chance of same organization having CDN also, but there is no need for taking care of CDN infrastructure if there is a separate organization handling all these things. There is a better connectivity and scalability because a CDN is having multiple data centers and servers across the globe. There is a better connectivity for many of the users. There is also scalability because many techniques like Anycast are used for handling higher traffic spikes suddenly, so that the requests are fulfilled on time. There is also reduced network congestion because all the requests did not travel to the origin server every time. The CDN will deliver the fulfillment of the responses. So the traffic between the origin server and the user is reduced, since there is only traffic between user and CDN. Only sometimes there is a traffic between CDN and origin server, but this happens very low rate. So this reduces the network congestion, and overall internet is having a better traffic. Some of the references I used are from Cloudflare and IBM for doing the case study and gaining good knowledge on this topic. Thank you for listening to my presentation.